Overcoming lust is by far the greatest challenge that any man can ever face. Because lust can ruin your life. The three biggest vices for men is money, or greed, alcoholism, and sex, or lust. And lust is undefeated because even the greatest men in history, the most successful men, they weren't able to conquer lust. As a matter of fact, lust is actually the undoing of a lot of successful men. They can work hard, be disciplined, and have everything together, but that sexual desire is the one thing that they can't overcome. Even kings throughout history, world leaders, presidents, celebrities, athletes, actors, even a lot of religious men, all the men at the top of their field have fell victim to lust in some way, shape, or form. Men like Alexander the Great, Constantine, Genghis Khan, presidents like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, celebrities, actors, athletes, I don't even have to mention them. Even the greatest men in history have been subject to lust. And a lot of guys today, they get caught up in allegations, cheating on their wives, getting women pregnant, and sometimes a lot worse. Think about how many famous guys in the past have gotten their reputations ruined due to sexual allegations. Even if they were false, they still put themselves in that position by sleeping with a lot of promiscuous women. Like, if you really think about it, sex and lust is undefeated against men, and it's not even a close fight. We're getting destroyed, especially because of how social media has become an amplifier for this problem in modern society. There is maybe a handful of men in history that have truly conquered lust. Maybe Nikola Tesla, maybe Isaac Newton. History says that they were virgins, but who really knows? Who else? Maybe like some monks, maybe Buddha, individuals that have reached inner peace. I mean, even for some monks, if you put a hot 11 out of 10 girl in her 20s in front of them late at night, they would probably fold, just as I would fold, just as you would probably fold. Sex and lust will bring even the highest value of men to their knees. Pause. Major pause. This is the one vice, the one aspect of human nature that is almost impossible to genuinely overcome. Even guys in committed relationships, marriages, they still watch porn and they still jerk off to the thought of other women. This is how powerful lust is, and you probably already know this. It took me a while, but I finally understand why premarital sex or sex outside of marriage is a sin. God was trying to protect us from ourselves. I mean, that's why God told Adam and Eve not to take a bite of the fruit from the tree. Because once you've tasted the forbidden fruit, it's impossible to reverse. You know what it's like, you've tasted it. Like, ideally, when you finally taste the fruit, it should be someone that you love and that you're committed to. Because if and when you take a bite of that fruit from the tree of lust, you're gonna keep wanting it and start chasing it, and it can ruin your life like it's done to many men. Again, I'm a hypocrite, I wanna make that clear. This includes me as well. I'm not on a high horse, I'm not a virgin, I had my phase, it's nothing to be proud of. But that's why God only wanted us to have sex with someone we made that commitment to, that person we love. Like, it's something that's supposed to be sacred, that was designed for procreation. Like, it's not a coincidence. Two genders, male and female, penis goes in a vagina, through sex you have the ability to create life. Like, that is by intelligent design. But through modern science and contraceptives and condoms and Plan Bs and birth control pills and, just modern science in general, we've abused it. And in the era of social media, the internet, where softcore pornography and porn and temptation is everywhere, the fight against lust, men's greatest weakness, has never been harder in the history of humanity. And I know you shouldn't get religious because that's not good for views, but it's whatever. Aside from YouTube, Google, and Facebook, the top most visited websites in the world are porn sites. Male lust is being monetized like never before in the era of social media and technology. Like, literally, millionaires have been made from doing things like OnlyFans due to male lust. Pornography is a billion-dollar industry. Like, this is where we're at. And you know what pisses me off? When you Google or people say, porn is not bad, just don't get addicted to it. Or it's fine once in a while, the whole moderation excuse. I kept seeing this stupid argument from people that are so obviously just coping with their own porn addiction. It's like, shut up. It's one of the most destructive, detrimental things to people, right up there with drugs and alcohol. Probably even worse in a lot of ways. And they know this deep down, but they lie to themselves just to cope. Like, bro, I got so pissed off reading these Reddit threads of people giving personal anecdotes saying there's no scientific evidence porn has any negative effects on your brain, and they'll lean on the whole as long as you don't get addicted argument. There's no such thing as a healthy consumption of porn if you really think about what you're really doing and how you feel afterwards. And the articles that talk about negative effects of pornography, they just say, oh, it perpetuates racism or toxic stereotypes, or that women are sexual objects, or the industry can be exploitive or create unrealistic expectations or standards. And it's like, hello, what about the psychological effects it has on you? What about the fact that it kills your ability to have an erection because you become desensitized? What about the fact that it's linked to depression? What about the fact that it destroys your ability to have a healthy relationship or sexual relationship? What about the fact that it darkens your soul and mind? What about the fact that you're messing with the dopamine and reward system in your brain? Like, think about this. You're giving yourself peak human experience by having an orgasm for a few seconds in your room, dark at night, staring into a bright screen on maximum. And then after all that's done, you drop all the way back down. You close all your tabs, you throw away your tissues, and you feel like shit. And you might not know in the moment, but you're preventing yourself and making it that much harder to interact with an actual woman. That's why a lot of guys are so afraid to go on dates or put themselves out there. Like, the reason why you clear your search history is because deep down you feel guilt and shame. And the liberal argument to that would be, oh, it's a societal thing. It's like if we all made watching porn acceptable, you wouldn't feel shame. Bro, these people. It would be less annoying if they actually believed some of these arguments instead of just lying to themselves to cope. But it's nonsense. Guilt is an indicator of inherently you know you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. It's how we determine right from wrong. Pornography has fueled lust a million times over, and it's something that even the greatest men in history that fell to lust didn't have to deal with. And now you got 12-year-old little Timmy with an iPad in his room watching porn every night. Lust has become a 12-headed hydra and you're going up against it with a butter knife. We've never been more sexually degenerate, promiscuous, and lustful as now as we are in a society. And this has created so many problems directly and indirectly in the world. And no one really talks about this or how guys navigate around lust in the era of social media because it's so new. Keep in mind, social media and the internet's only been around for what, 20, 30 years? We're still in the infant stages, and we're already seeing all these irreversible problems arise. There's a lot of discussion when it comes to what being a high value man is, but personally, I believe that the true mark of a man, the highest determiner, is one that can turn down sex even when it's difficult. A man that's conquered his lust. Because even if you get to a point where sex is pretty accessible to you, you probably already have some level of success and competence as a man. But to turn that down when you have that, to turn down sex, how many men can actually do that? Like, think about all your favorite male celebrities, the highest status men in society, the most famous, your role models, your favorite athletes. They're the most degenerate when it comes to sex. That's why so many of them turn out to be weirdos or get caught up in allegations. Because when sex became accessible at that level, they were consumed by it. It's like a never-ending high that you keep on chasing. About a month ago, I made a video called Why Chasing Sex Won't Make You Happy. And I told one of my hookup stories. And I basically talked about how my experiences of hooking up really opened my eyes to how pointless, empty, and fleeting sex was. And how having sex with someone you truly care about will forever be millions of times better than just having casual sex with some hoe. And I was reading the comments and there was this one comment that really sat with me. And he said, I think hookup culture will only get worse because of how many guys are without sex right now. Most guys can't even choose to take the moral high ground because they can't get laid, period. So you're basically advising a starving man to be content without food. In terms of a moral society, I think it's good advice, but in practice, it's not gonna pan out that way due to people's pain. I'm not gonna lie, this really sat with me and I lost some sleep over it because I genuinely didn't have an answer. He was right, and I even mentioned it in my video. Like, I can have that perspective because I know what it's like. I've tasted the fruit. I had a phase where I wasn't the best. And based off that experience, I can genuinely say sex won't make you happy. It's fleeting, it's empty, it's pointless, and you become addicted to the validation. And I'm saying don't chase that to guys that are essentially starving. And ultimately the answer I came to was chase love. And then sex will come with the person that you love. And also that's a whole lot easier said than done with the current dating market in society, which obviously I'm aware of how bad it is. I don't know, man, maybe we just need to touch the stove, right? A guy can talk about how it'll burn you, how the stove is hot, but some of us just gotta touch it to find out. And even though my opinion doesn't hold much weight when it comes to this conversation, this topic, again, because I'm talking about something that I've done, I still believe in at least pushing the right message. And I still believe that the best path is to not chase sex, to build yourself up in life, your value as a man, as much as you can so that you can have options and be worthy of the woman you want. And then you can share love and sex with that person you want to be with. It is idealistic, I'm not gonna lie, and pretty implausible at this point, but that's kind of where I landed at. But with social media and porn nowadays, I don't know how most guys are gonna fight lust at this point. Temptation and instant gratification is literally right there. Men have always had to deal with lust, it's in our biology, but even less than 50 years ago, they didn't have magic screens we carried with us everywhere, where you could see half-naked women or women having sex. Or they didn't have gyms where girls wear those yoga pants that it goes up their ass cheeks. Like, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've seen it. But yeah, anyways, they didn't have dating apps, Instagram, and sex being advertised everywhere non-stop. They didn't have Plan Bs, birth control pills, those things where they inject in the girl's arm where the girl doesn't get pregnant. They didn't have condoms. Well, actually, I think condoms came out in like the 1800s, but still pretty late in human history. Like, genuinely, lust has never been a bigger problem in all of human history. Like, as guys, it's damn near impossible to resist lust and temptation with everything I just named, which is barely scratching the surface. Like, bro, a few weeks ago, right, I went on Twitter to read some post about how we were sending $95 billion more to Ukraine because the US loves funding proxy wars because Joe Biden wants to kill us all. And in the thread, I'm seeing hoes promoting their OnlyFans. Like, what the hell is going on? This is a post about geopolitics, and there's these hoes putting nudes in the comment sections, like, buy my OnlyFans. Like, just imagine some dude out there trying to read about geopolitics, and then he just sees some thought posting nudes to funnel OnlyFans, and instead of geopolitics, he's headed straight to Pornhub to masturbate. Like, I'm trying to read about politics, and the shit is everywhere. 2 of the top 5 websites in the world most visited are porn sites. Obviously, top 3 being Google, YouTube, and Facebook, but aside from those juggernauts, it's all porn sites. Do whatever you can to turn away or to lower your gaze from seeing things that can trigger your lust. Whether it's a girl on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, or, I don't know, degenerate music, don't even let it enter your ethos. I know social media is the main trigger for a bunch of young guys, which is why there's so many simps nowadays. But all it takes is that one seed to be planted in your mind, and you're gonna spend the next 2 hours scrolling degeneracy and most likely end up masturbating. You gotta identify your triggers and do whatever you can to eliminate those from your mind. Like, before you go down that path of lust, always think about how it ends up, how you feel afterwards. And to me, for all these issues, it always goes back to the same thing. Believe in God, find purpose, seek to be the best version of yourself in whatever avenue of life you're in. And yeah, replace that lust with love. Try to find love and try to chase love. And do whatever it takes to put yourself in a position to be able to have that love that you can share with someone else for the rest of your life. It only gets harder from here, but I guess it wouldn't be worth it otherwise. No matter what, make sure you stay true to yourself. And yeah, I'll talk to you real soon. Peace.